Hello friends, welcome to yet another session on essay perspectives. The topic for today is wrong choices lead to right places. Friends, as always, I have a personal request, personal appeal. Third edition of my book Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude has unfortunately been pirated. So I urge all of you to, unfortunately the pirated copies are of very low print and paper quality. I urge all of you to buy original. Original copies can be bought from the seller Arvind India on Flipkart and seller Affordable on Amazon. Thank you. As always friends, first we need to introduce the topic, then we have to delve deep into the topic. We have to take a deep dive. So that is the second component, that is exposition of the topic. Then we would analyze how wrong choices lead to the right places. Then we would get into that critical part of the essay where we would counter question ourselves and question, would wrong choices always lead to right places? Then we would conclude. Friends, as soon as I saw this topic, I was reminded of my experiences during my first attempt of civil service examination. After prelims, I had to start mains preparation afresh, as I had not done any mains preparation before prelims preparation. So then I had to make a tough choice between finishing the syllabus and doing answer writing practice. So I made the wrong choice of finishing the syllabus in the place of doing answer writing practice. Actually that led to a very disappointing outcome of not even getting interview call. I did not qualify mains. So then afterwards I realized the only reason why I fared so badly in mains without even getting interview call was mainly because I had not done answer writing practice that was key for success in mains. So this realization made me to focus on answer writing practice in the second attempt. Friends, believe me, I gave my heart, soul, everything, even every drop of my blood into answer writing practice in the second attempt. That actually helped me to score one of the highest scores in mains. In fact, if I remember correctly, I was 9th topper to the entire country in mains scores. So I personally believe even today that the only reason why I could score so much marks in mains was only because of my very high intensive answer writing practice that had its genesis in my realization of the answer writing practice. That realization was because of my wrong choice of finishing the syllabus that had made me to ignore answer writing practice. Friends, let us look at it from another perspective. Let us say what would have happened had I made the choice of writing practice in the very first attempt itself. Then perhaps I would have qualified mains in the first attempt itself, but definitely not with the extraordinary marks that I got in the second attempt. That was purely because in first attempt I was still a novice. My scholastic knowledge was not that consolidated. So even with writing practice, though I had got entry into interview call, I would have gotten that entry with a very low marks. So then perhaps I would not have made it to the final list. But this would have given me the false confidence that I was good at writing, good at clearing mains. Then I would not have done the intensive writing practice which I did in the second attempt. That would have led to scoring lower marks in the second attempt also. Then perhaps I would not have become IAS with All India rank 36. So what I am trying to tell you is, friends, it is only my wrong choice in the first attempt. It is only my realization of the right choice in the second attempt led me to what I am today. So precisely, sometimes wrong choices help us to reach right places provided we learn from them. Okay? Friends, after introduction, since this is a philosophical essay, it is important for us to elaborate on the essence of the topic itself. So that would set the tone for next analysis. Correct? So here if you read the topic carefully, you stumble upon two keywords. One is choice and the other one is place. So first you have to explain the meaning of choice and place. So first let us take choice. Basically choice means choosing a particular course of action or choosing or making a particular decision, correct? So what do you mean by place? In this context, place actually means a desired outcome, a desired end, desired destiny, correct? So to put these two concepts together, this actually means whether choosing a wrong course of action would also land you in the desired destination is the essence of this topic. Okay, so now normally the normal common sense says that right course of action would lead you to right results, right outcome, but counterintuitively this topic argues that even wrong courses of action would also lead to right outcomes. Got it, friends? So I think you can give one or two illustrations to make this concept very clear. Then friends, we need to explore the relationship between choice and place. See friends, whether our ends are determined by our means, whether where we will reach depend upon which road do we actually take. So this is a very complex concept. There is no direct relationship between course of action and outcome, correct? So this relationship has to be explored in a greater detail in this part of essay, because that would only open up the discussion or that would only lay the foundation for deciding whether wrong choices lead to right places or not. Okay, then friends, see, between this choice or course of action and the desired end, there are many factors that play their role, right? So these factors would only determine whether a particular course of action lead to a particular outcome. If all such forces, all such factors are known, then it is easier to establish the relationship between course of action and the outcome. But unfortunately, there are many unknown factors also. Not always does our course of action get influenced by known factors. There are so many unknown factors. Unfortunately, unknown factors are far more significant in our world that would unknowingly impact the destinations that we would take. So because of these unknown factors, so many times wrong choices would also lead to right places, or alternately sometimes even right choices lead to wrong places. Friends, I want to give two illustrations. First one, how would a right choice lead to a wrong place because of an unknown factor? Then how would a wrong choice lead to a right place because of unknown factors? Okay, first one, suppose a new detergent brand is foraying into an Arabic country, correct? So the right choice for them to make is, since their detergent brand is unknown to the people there, if the people should start buying their detergent brands, then they should first may publicize their detergents. They should publicize the arrival of this new product into the market. Hence, the obvious right choice was to go on an all-out, intensive, full-scale advertising and publicity campaign. So they started giving the ads on billboards, hoardings, newspapers, etc. Since their idea was to first etch the brand in the minds of people and also to start to pick up initial sales, so they decided to keep only one ad so that it is easy for the people to remember and recall. The ad was simple. There are three pictures. Picture to its left, the leftmost picture would have a dirty t-shirt. Middle picture mein the dirty t-shirt is being washed with this particular detergent. In this rightmost picture, the same dirty t-shirt would become bright white, clean, everything. Correct? Yet after certain days also, the sales did not pick up only. Then the company started, it worried the company, it made the company worrisome. Despite that all out intensive advertising campaign, they still could not make a cut with impressive initial sales. Then they launched another study to find out. Then they understood that it was an Arabian country where people would not read from left to right but read from right to left. So the message that this ad had conveyed was that if a clean shirt is washed with this detergent and it would lead to a dirty t-shirt. So thus people had taken it on an altogether different plane. So this unknown factor of reading from right to left instead of from left to right as is in many other countries, so led this right choice of launching an intensive publicity campaign to the wrong place, wrong destination, wrong outcome of having no sales. Correct? So this is the first example. Then I would like to take the second example of wrong choice leading to right place because of an unknown factor. So let us say a banker has to choose between two businessmen in advancing loan. Correct? The first businessman deals in fast moving consumer goods, FMCG goods. The second businessman deals in real estate. So this first businessman deals in this FMCG market, which is mostly stable. There is constant demand. The certainty of or the probability of debt repayment is very high. But however, he is ready to give only a lower interest rate. Let us, the second businessman who deals in real estate, see at the moment of sanctioning the loan, the real estate is in a very bad shape. The apartments, already constructed apartments, are not at all getting sold. So everything is vacant. So already there is a lot of real estate stock piled up in the market. So the chances that the debt repayment would happen from a real estate businessman is very unlikely because of this market condition. Okay, but however he is ready to pay you a very high interest rate. Okay, so then but still any commonsensical banker would decide to advance loan to the FMCG businessman, since the returns are assured, even with though the rate of interest is lower. But let us say this banker decides to sanction loan to the real estate businessman, though the probability of repayment of principal is very less. Okay, this is the scenario. Then suddenly something happens. So let us say this piling up of real estate stocks, let us say, is because of more and more work from home options, where people have gone to their homes and nobody is ready to occupy the apartments or ready to buy new apartments. So suddenly the business changes and the work from home calls come down, and employees are called to work from their offices only. Then this would actually lead to people coming from rural areas, their homes, to this city where this project is being started, and suddenly all the piled up real estate stock gets sold out gets occupied, and this particular businessman gets an advance booking for all the apartments that he is ready to build. Correct? Then suddenly this banker starts making exorbitant profit. Correct? So here the wrong choice of the banker has led him to the right place of higher returns because of a change, because of one unknown factor that has altered the market dynamics. Correct? So thus the relationship between choice and place, course of action and outcome is very complex, and it is more often than not gets determined by unknown factors. Similarly, friends, this relationship between course of action and destination is also determined by controllable and uncontrollable factors. There are certain factors which are controllable, there are certain factors which can be controlled, which can be modified by the person undertaking that course of action. But there are some factors which are uncontrollable, which are beyond the control of the person undertaking any course of action. Thus, some right choices lead to right outcomes only when all the factors are controllable, all the variables are controllable, and the person undertaking the course of action would make right choice with respect of each and every controllable variable. Correct? Then wrong choices would lead to wrong outcomes when the person undertaking the course of action would err on any of these controllable variables. Correct? So if the outcome is determined by only controllable variables, then we would have the scenario of right choices leading to right decision, right outcomes, wrong choices leading to wrong outcomes. But unfortunately, there are many uncontrollable factors. Correct? So let us again illustrate. Let us say an UPSC aspirant has worked very hard, has done writing practice, and has taken test series, and he is all set to face the exam full confidently. Correct? Then unfortunately, on the day of examination, if he or she falls sick, if he or she is not able to concentrate, then their right choice of hard work, their right choice of writing practice, their right choice of taking test series would go down the drain only because of that uncontrollable factor of health of an aspirant, health of that particular aspirant. Correct? So thus sometimes, so because of these uncontrollable factors, right choices would lead to wrong outcomes. Friends, the heart of this topic is justifying as to how a wrong choice would lead to a right place. Correct? So thus the first advantage of making a wrong choice is the learning that it gives. Whenever you make a wrong choice, you end up committing a mistake. Once a mistake is committed, you learn something. That learning becomes a part of your personality. Okay? So let us take the same example of an UPSC aspirant working hard, consolidating knowledge, taking tests, doing writing practice, yet again falling sick on the day of examination. Then that falling sick on the day of examination was perhaps because he had overworked himself, he had not slept properly, he had not eaten properly, he had not done meditation. For whatever, in the process of working hard, in the process of taking test series, in the process of acquiring more and more knowledge, in the process of leaving no stone unturned in clearing this exam, perhaps he had not cared much about his health. Okay, that personal care is very important, right, during preparation. So that had led him to fall sick on the D day, on that crucial day. So that actually messed up everything. So perhaps once that mistake is committed, by that aspirant, the next time he would be extremely careful. He would take good care of himself. In the next attempt, he would sleep properly, eat properly, drink properly, and whatnot. He would take best care of himself, and thus his mental alertness would be on the top in the next attempt. Then he would crack this exam with flying colors. Correct? So this is the beauty of making a wrong choice. Okay. Then the second thing is better control over controllable factors. See, I have already explained it to you what a controllable factor is, what an uncontrollable factor is. Of course, we have anyway no control over uncontrollable factors, but at least we have control over some controllable factors, right? So thus, so many times increasing our control over controllable factors would neutralize the adverse effects of uncontrollable factors. Again, to take a leaf out of my previous example of a detergent brand launching an ad campaign. So once that wrong choice of a particular ad is made, then they realize that it is important to do a proper customer survey, or it is important to do a pilot ad before releasing an ad on a mass scale. Correct? So this learning, see, doing customer survey, releasing a pilot ad is a controllable factor, right? So that one experience would enable, would lead, would prod this company to do proper customer survey, to understand the customer mind's instincts, everything in the next attempt, and they would ensure that their ad campaigns would never become a failure. Okay, so that is because that one wrong choice has increased their control over, or at least that one wrong choice has made them realize the need to have more control over controllable factors. Correct? So that would neutralize the adverse impact of uncontrollable factors. Then general sense of caution. See, a person who commits a mistake would be very cautious, would be very careful. Then he would take any course of action only after doing the due diligence. If a person who has not made a wrong choice, who has not faced any failure, would be very carefree, would be very casual, he would believe more in his gut. Correct? So this sense of caution in the person who has already made a wrong choice would make him a paranoid. Okay, there is a famous statement, right? Only paranoids survive. Correct? Only this paranoia would make him be on high alert and would actually would reduce the probability of such wrong decisions in future. This cannot be expected in a carefree person. That carefreeness is because he has not made a wrong choice, or he has not tasted a failure before. So then the next quality is, the next reason why a wrong choice leads to right place is better ability to foresee the possible consequences. See, a person who has made a wrong choice would know how things can go wrong. When you know how things can go wrong, you would foresee the possible ways in which things can go wrong, and you would prepare yourself to tackle all such eventualities. But if you have not made the wrong choices, if you have always made the right choices, perhaps you would not have that ability to sense the upcoming adverse eventualities. Then cross application of learning to different scenarios. Friends, wrong choice in one place would help you to make right choices in many other places. Okay, because one learning gets applied in many scenarios. Let us say there is an employer with anger management issues. So he doesn't have emotional intelligence. He cannot control his anger. He cannot maintain his temperament. He cannot maintain his poise. So with this anger, he shouts at an extremely competent employee. Eventually, leading that employee to leave the concern. Okay, later he realized that he lost a valuable resource because of his inability to manage his anger. Okay, that one wrong choice which he made, okay, would make him to be cautious in other transactions of life. Correct? So then there may be another scenario where he had to pick up fight with his wife, with his friend or whoever. Then from his past experience of losing a valuable resource because of his inability to manage anger, at that particular point of time he would apply brakes to his anger and he would control himself. Then that would actually help him to continue in a conducive relationship with friend or wife, whoever. Correct? So thus one wrong choice in one place would lead to right choices in other places. So thus overall you would end up in a right place. Then this is a very interesting point. So playing wounded tiger. Friends, who is more ferocious, a wounded tiger or a normal tiger? All of us know, right? A wounded tiger is more ferocious than a normal tiger. Thus, a person who has made a wrong choice is filled with energy or filled with dire need to prove himself to be a competent person. This dire necessity to prove himself to be a competent person would actually make him to put all energies to leave no stone unturned to reach his goal. Correct? So thus, without a failure, without making a wrong choice, that person would not get that force to act. So best example is UPSC only, friends. I may be giving more and more examples from UPSC, but that is one way I think you people can relate better. So a person who has failed in first attempt would be more anxious, or rather than would be more intense in his preparation than the person who has not failed before. Correct? So with every successive failure, an aspirant becomes more and more intense in his preparation. So it is that intensity that would lead to his or her success. Then friends, as I always tell you, we have to play a devil advocate to our own argument. We have to turn our own coat. So all these times we have argued that wrong choices lead to right places. Correct? But we should now pause a bit and question, would wrong choices always lead to right places? The answer is certainly not. Certainly not. Wrong choices would not always lead to right places. There are scenarios where wrong choices can lead to wrong places also. So thus it is important for us to describe the same. Friends, wrong choices lead to right places only these wrong choices would lead to right places. What are these wrong choices? Inadvertent wrong choices. What do you mean by inadvertent wrong choices? You made a wrong choice inadvertently. You did not deliberately do a wrong choice. Let us take the illustration of a person driving a car, committing an accident. Okay. So then leading to injuries to a person on the road. So this act was an inadvertent act. He did not actually want to commit an accident, but it happened. Then that wrong choice of committing an accident would actually fill him with lot of grief, with remorse, and he would be more careful in future. So such inadvertent wrong choices would actually lead you to right places, okay, in future. Second, choices made without any hint about the consequences. See friends, I told you so many times, while making the choice, we really don't know what could be its consequences. While starting a business, you really don't know. You just put in the money, you just work hard. Correct? So, in that scenario, you put in your hard-earned money, you work hard. Even then, if you don't end up with profit or even your capital gets eroded, then it's a scenario where you have given your best, yet you have ended in a wrong choice, ended in a wrong place. Correct. But such wrong choices, okay, would actually make you a little more alert in making business decisions, and perhaps in future ventures you would become successful. Then wrong choices without wrong intentions, it's very important. You have made a wrong choice without any wrong intentions, so such wrong choices have the possibility and probability of leading you in right place. Last thing is perceptual wrong choices. Friends, a choice may not be wrong at all, but it is perceived to be wrong. There is a lot of difference, right? A choice may be wrong in itself, but a choice may be perceived to be wrong. I am reminded of this movie Padman. Akshay Kumar has decided to come up with a sanitary pad at affordable price to rural women, to poor women. In that process, actually he had to desert his wife. So his choice of focusing on coming up with an affordable sanitary pad, come what may, okay, appeared to be wrong to his villagers back then, even to his wife, so who deserts him midway and leaves him. Correct. But was his choice of focusing on coming up with an affordable sanitary pad to a woman, to rural women, was a wrong choice in itself? No, right? It appeared to be a wrong choice. So there are some wrong choices which are perceived to be wrong, though they are not wrong at all. Correct? So thus, friends, only these wrong choices, inadvertent wrong choices without any wrong intentions, and choices made without any hint about how their consequences could be, and the choices which are perceived to be wrong, only these choices have the possibility of leading you in right places. But there are some wrong choices which would definitely lead you in a wrong place. Correct? What are those choices? Deliberate wrong choices. Friends, knowing very well that getting addicted to narcotics is not good for health, is not good for society, not good for family. Knowing very well that if a youth takes himself to drug addiction, gets himself addicted to narcotics, then do you think he would land up in the right place? Definitely not. Because it's a deliberate wrong choice. And choices made with evil intentions. See, in the same, a person who is driving car meeting with an inadvertent accident. If there is a contract killer who intentionally kills a person under the bogey of an accident, then do you think he will land up in the right place? No, right? He would eventually go to jail and his life would get ruined. Then ceasing to attempt after initial failure. Friends, wrong choices would lead to right places only if you learn from those mistakes, correct yourself, bounce back with full force, and give subsequent attempts to become successful. Correct? If you make a wrong choice, if you fail in the first attempt, you give up everything and you stop attempting, then how would you end up in right place, friends? No, right? So wrong choice would lead you to wrong place if you cease to attempt after initial failure. Friends, then the last point to ponder is whether a choice is decided to be right or wrong by the choice itself or by the outcome it produces. Friends, it's a very tricky thing. All this while we have discussed right choice, wrong choice, etc., etc. But at the end of it, don't you think before we conclude, we should have to think whether choice becomes right or wrong by itself, or whether a choice becomes right or wrong by the outcomes it produces. Friends, so many times when a choice is made, the choice is neither right nor wrong. It is just a choice. But it is branded as a right choice or wrong choice only by the outcomes it produces. It is basically a post-mortem kind of a thing. At the time of taking up a course of action, nobody knows whether that is right or wrong. That course of action gets justified only if it leads you to the desired outcome. It would not get it would be dubbed as a wrong course of action. It would not lead to the desired outcome, desired destination. Correct. Let us take the illustration of a student who is focusing more on sports instead of academics. None of us know. Everybody initially may think because of the general societal perception that this fellow is taking the wrong choice. But eventually, if he or she emerges out to be a national sports icon, national sports champion, then perhaps his choice of concentrating more on sports instead of academics gets justified. Correct? So thus, friends, I think there is nothing like wrong choice or right choice. A choice becomes right or wrong only by the place that it takes you. Friends, after this elaborate discussion, I want to sum it up like this. A wrong choice is a good choice if it gives rich learning to the person undertaking a wrong course of action. Correct? A wrong choice is a good choice if a person does not repeat the same mistake again and again. Okay? And a wrong choice is a good choice if a person, after tasting failure in the first instance, is bold enough to attempt again and emerge out victorious. Correct? So from this we can conclude that wrong decisions initially would lead us to right places eventually if a person learns from the mistakes, if a person doesn't commit the same mistakes again and again, if a person is bold enough to attempt again with more vigor, more force, even after committing the mistake. Correct? I hope it has made sense, friends. So wishing you happy reading. All the best.